Episode 22. Welcome to April. April 3rd, Sunday, 8:28 p.m. 7 Days of Wisdom. Aquaus Kelley, your host, checking in. And this week, we will be touching on a variety of different things that I wrote about this past week, including using the term lady versus woman. What is the difference? Is there any difference? You know, what do females prefer, to be called a woman or a lady? So we're gonna get into that. We will also get into finding our competitive advantage. How do we go about finding our competitive advantage and tapping into our career destiny, which is a very interesting topic. Those are the two topics we're going to pretty much hit on this week. It's been a week where I've focused a lot of time on the branding and music side as well. So I'm going to incorporate some updates on that end, just in regards to what I'm listening to music-wise, what's going on in the culture side of things. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So let's hop right into it. And on Monday, was it Monday? March 29th. Let's see. Tuesday, actually. We put up a post. Are you a lady or are you a woman? So the reason why I posted this is because I'm working on a few different series. One of them is a series just saluting dope women within their career field. You know, whether you're a DJ, whether you're a writer, a journalist, whatever you do, you know, just a way to salute, you know, the dope work of females who I admire and respect over the last few years. I wanted to come up with something. And the theme of everything pretty much on the site now, everything that we do out of Lover's Ambition, is blank we love. So it could be products we love, music we love, artists we love. And this one I thought, should this be ladies we love or should this be women we love? So I'm like, what's the exact technical difference between using the term lady or using the term woman? And the results that I found were pretty interesting. So I looked it up, I Googled it, and I came across a site, actually an article that was entitled, Is She a Lady or a Woman? And it was by Maeve Maddox. I may not be pronouncing the first name correct, but it's Maeve Maddox. And thanks to that article, I actually learned a few new things. So pretty much how it was broken down is, first of all, they made the comparison of male, gave an example, and female. So that's where it all starts. So essentially, a woman is a female human being, right? A woman isn't just a female because technically a woman's a female human being. A woman's not a female dog, that's something else. A woman isn't a female goat. If there are female goats, I'm not really too adept in that field, but you get the example. It's something else. So women essentially are female human beings. Men are male human beings. All right? So that's woman and man. Now, a lady is a particular type of woman. According to Mr. or Mrs. Maddox, a lady is a woman of refined behavior and speech. All right? So not every woman is a lady, or not every woman may be a lady, but every lady is a woman. Same thing goes for men. A man is a male human being. However, a gentleman is a specific type of man. A gentleman is a man of refined behavior and speech. However, not all men are gentlemen. All gentlemen are men, but not all men are gentlemen. So that's pretty much what I got from that. So, of course, I thought I would prefer to use the term lady if we're dealing with refined, distinguished women, refined, distinguished females. I would rather use the term lady. And that's what I picked. So it's going to be Ladies We Love. We're pretty much going to just profile different ladies who are working hard to make a name for themselves. And, you know, that will be kicking off shortly. So look out for that. Ladies We Love. And I'm excited. I'm excited for that. Just giving homage to, you know, all the people I respected, all the ladies I respected for the past few years in regards to what I've been doing and just creative stuff that's going on that I see a lot of ladies doing. So I will be launching that pretty soon. Let's hop into discovering our competitive advantage. So again, competitive advantage. This goes back to a video I checked out with Ty Lopez, and essentially he said the sooner we figure out what our competitive advantage is, the more likely it is that we're able to compete, right? So we may think we're competing, but until we find and know exactly what that thing is for us that puts us over the top, that's when we're really competing. So how do we go about discovering that? The first thing we should ask ourselves is, what is our career destiny? You know, it's important that we understand what it is that will allow us to showcase our skills, competencies, and talents. So, you know, we have to identify what is it that can best allow us, that can best allow me, that can best allow you to display what it is we're talented at. And essentially what it is we're passionate for as well. I like to call that the sweet spot, where passion intersects your talent. And once we understand that, you know, we're really able to rise above the crowd. The cream always rises, right? So what is it that allows us to do that? What is our competitive advantage? Ty has something he calls a Eulerian destiny, all right? Eulerian destiny, I think that's how you pronounce it. And he talks about it a lot in his videos. And pretty much it's like a chart. It consists of 5 circles, all right? So each circle asks a question, and then you fill in that circle. The first circle is who and what did we grow up around. So me personally, I grew up in a working class family, Staten Island, New York. Mother was an educator, social worker. She worked in the school system, New York City Board of Ed. Father worked at hospitals. So that's pretty much what I grew up around. I wasn't growing up around, you know, super influential people. I wasn't growing up around super wealthy people. I wasn't really exposed to that kind of stuff in regards to being exposed to it in person. So that's who and what I personally grew up around. And that plays a lot into kind of where we come from, and then our desire to get to where we want to go. Number 2, what did we want to be when we were 14 years old? The reason why he asked this question is because around the age of 14, 15, 16, I think 16 is really that sweet spot, is where we are able to identify in a way what it is we're really passionate about, yet be realistic about it as well. Somewhere. I mean, when I was 16, I wanted to be like Deion Sanders, so I wasn't really super realistic. But I wanted to be a football player. at that age. I was into sports, and I drew a little bit. I was still into creative stuff, but I wanted to be involved in sports. But as I uncovered that, there's a reason why I wanted to be involved in sports, and we could probably touch on that later. Number 3, what have we been doing for the past 10 years? So I asked myself this, what have I been doing for the past 10 years? Pretty much the past 10 years, I've been involved in 2 things: education, working in schools, and music in different capacities, from creating music to actually working with artists, emerging artists, marketing, promotion, all of that kind of stuff. So pretty much those 2 industries, the entertainment industry and the education industry. That's solely what I've been involved in for the last 10 years. Number 4, what do strangers or even people who don't like us compliment us on? So I thought about this literally the other day, and a lot of times I get complimented on, my style. When people see me, oh, I like your glasses, I like this, I like that. So for the most part, I tend to get complimented on my appearance, style-wise. I'm like super rough now. But that's one thing I tend to get complimented on. Another thing is my patience. Anyone who knows me, I'm super, super patient. So sometimes, especially elderly people, they will say, oh, you're so patient, such a patient young man, I appreciate it. So that's another thing I tend to get complimented on. And another thing is, voice. I've been told like I have a radio voice at times. I remember I used to actually do a radio show up at Rutgers. So that's another thing. Music, taste, just taste in general. Taste in music, culture, fashion. So, these are things that I've been complimented on in the past by strangers, people who don't know me or people who just got to know me, who were introduced to me. A few of the first things they would say, pretty cool dude, mellow, things like that. So these are all things I'm putting together to help form my competitive advantage. And everything's really starting to take off and make sense when I really think about it and synthesize, all of the experiences I've been through, whether it be independently or whether it be relationships with other people. So it really makes sense when you put it all together. So that was number 4. What do strangers or people who don't like us compliment us on? And then 5, the final one, what can we talk at length about our friends with? So what can we talk at length about with our friends? And, music, fashion, culture, anything cool, education, anything dealing with empowerment, spirituality, inspiration. These are things I could talk about for days, pretty much. So that's number 5. So when we put these 5 things together, ultimately this helps us to form our O'Learyan destiny, right? And it helps us to gain more of a sense of what our career destiny may be. So as I'm growing and becoming more aware of myself and others around me, I look back on my childhood, my teenage years, and there's a specific incident when I was 16, and I described this on a website. You can check it out. The post is "What is our competitive advantage?" So you could just look that up. But I go through the story. The short story is when I was 16, I stopped playing football at Piscataway High School. I just had like an epiphany, like, yo, this isn't for you. I think you should focus on other things. And you have to, I always look back like, man, I was 16, yet I made a pretty mature decision to choose right then at that point, like, football isn't my thing, It wasn't my competitive advantage. It wasn't something that would have allowed me to thrive in the capacity that I have the potential to thrive in. And essentially, this is what's going through my head at 16. I may have not articulated it in the same manner, but essentially that's the message that went through my head. So I told myself I need to focus on something else. So that's actually when I started to pick up music. So I thought, my father's a musician. I've had music around me all the time. Ever since we lived, in the projects on Staten Island in New Brighton, my father had a studio, you know. So I always had a studio around, always had instruments around. But I never tapped into my resources because as a kid, it's like you don't want to do what your parents are doing, right? You don't want to do that. So I always shied away from it. It wasn't until I was 16 that I'm like, man, I have this equipment. Let me tap into music, man. My brother was DJing at the time. He was into music. He was into music before I was. So I got into it when I was around 16. And from there, I got into writing, producing. And from writing and producing, I got into, the marketing side, promotion side, artist development side, identifying talent, creating opportunities. And that's leading me on to my next chapter, which is helping to build brands and just create opportunities for people, not only within music, but also people outside of music. So everything is just building up on top of one another. So that's a little glimpse at the short side of my story. What is my competitive advantage ultimately? Ultimately, it's my sense to connect and synthesize things that, most people aren't able to do. I'm like, when it comes to connecting dots and putting puzzles together and drawing the big picture out of little segments of information and just creating a masterpiece out of it, I feel that's where my competitive advantage is. I love absorbing information, and that's because I use that information as a way to create value and add value to the lives of others. In fact, when I was driving earlier, there was a quote, and I have to add this on as well. It's important that we learn how to leverage the power of information. The more we know, the more valuable we become to others. So that's something I literally wrote in the car earlier, and I feel that's what my competitive advantage is. It's absorbing information and leveraging that information to add a value to other people in a good way. This is an example of it. Just having a platform where I can share information and you can absorb whatever it is you want to absorb and use that information to your advantage. So that is what I feel my competitive advantage is. Leveraging information, leveraging insights, developing strategy, and using all of this in a way that I can be valuable to our lives collectively. So that pretty much wraps it up for competitive advantage. And we're going to hop into quotes of the week. So the first one, which should be the last one because it's the most recent one, is the one I just went over. It's important that we learn how to leverage the power of information. The more we know, the more valuable we become to others. All right? So I will be adding that on my list as we speak. And we have 4 more to go. So the original number 1 was supposed to be curious, be imaginative, be inquisitive. This is from Tuesday the 29th. And it's very important that we're always curious. We always make room to be imaginative, and we are always inquisitive. I actually came across this, not the same exact saying, but just curiosity, imagination, and being inquisitive from a praxis study guide, because I was studying for the praxis. So that's how I came across that. 2. Numero dos. The sooner we figure out what our competitive advantage is, the more likely we are to be able to compete. That's something I said earlier, Ty Lopez. That's from Tuesday as well. As extraordinary individuals, and this is from Fred Frederick Nietzsche, I believe is how it's pronounced. I always get it messed up. Fred Nietzsche. As extraordinary individuals, we should all seek to rise above the crowd. So, aiming for being extraordinary, aiming for just being great, we should seek to rise above the crowd. Rise to the top. Allow our work to speak. Allow our work to speak for itself. Just put in the work hard, and allow your work to speak for you, man. That's all I can really say about that. Number 4, last one. We don't have too many quotes of the week this week. Number 4, and this is from Alessia Cara, vocalist, artist, signed to Def Jam. I forgot, actually, when did I come across this? I remember I was watching one of her videos, Vivo Discover, Vivo's platform for discovering new talent, and I checked out her Facebook. On her Facebook it said, all we really need is love for what we do and the ambition to do it. And once I saw that, you already know what I thought. Hashtag a lover's ambition. So all we really need is a love for what we do and the ambition to do it. That just sums up the, oh my God, essence of a lover's ambition. Determination and will to succeed at what it is we love to do in life. When I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, it's crazy. So yeah, Alessia Cara. So that's quotes of the week. We discussed competitive advantage. We discussed the difference between a lady and a woman. And technically, a lady is a particular type of woman, so I don't know if it's much of a difference. It's just a subcategory. And lastly, I want to just touch on a few of the recent things I've been doing. I've been building up a lot of content on the website, so definitely check it out when you get the chance. loversambition.com. Put up the posts with one of the artists I've had the privilege to work with from a distance, Izzy Bizu, UK's prominent, emerging, rising star. She's gonna be big. She's gonna be big. She came out in 2013. This is, pretty much 3 years in. Signed to Sony, UK, Epic, and check her stuff out, man. IZZY, last name Bizu, BIZU, Izzy Bizu. All right, check her out. She's gonna be huge. So I have a lot of posts on my website for that. You could just put her name in. A lot of stuff will come up. Music I've been checking out this past week. Maluka Mala, Dominican, Uptown, NYC's own. She dropped a joint called Mala, actually. And I feel it's a good dance joint. When I first heard it, I thought of a Zumba class. I've never taken Zumba, but that's what I thought of. Thought it would be a good song for that. So check that out. Music and Movement, Maluka Mala. Pretty cool record. And my favorite record of this week, I know I'm a little late. I think the video dropped at the end of February, maybe beginning of February. But Aluna George, I'm in Control. That's my joint right now. Aluna George, I'm in Control. I checked out the video on YouTube, posted it on my website. I'm like, yo, very cool, super cool vibe on that track. So that's what's been moving me recently on a music tip. And let's see. Also did a post on Noma, homegirl Noma in Miami. I remember when we were first talking about doing events, because I was doing some work with Cornerstone Agency when I lived in Miami. She was looking to really do something big for the city in Miami, and I remember her first huge event was Trap Paradise for Art Basel, I believe. and super huge. Like she had Pharrell come through and everything. I'm just super proud of the work she's put in. We've never even met in person. We've spoken over the phone a few times, but watching from a distance, Norma, super proud of you, crushing it. I mean, everything you're doing, working with Yes Jules, who's huge. Like I saw a video she did for the Shorty Awards. She did not a speech, but she did like kind of a keynote for them. It was about an hour. I learned a ton of stuff. She's a super duper hustler, and these right here are two ladies that I respect and two ladies I love just for what they're doing for the culture, putting in that work and really bringing people together, between just cool stuff, just dope stuff, and conscious stuff as well. Yes, Jules, one of her phrases just for her agency is connecting cool and conscious. So continue to do that. Who knows, we may be working with one another one day down the line. Definitely respect the movement. So that's a post I did. Norma, Yes Jules, Winter Music Conference 2016, best day ever pool party. I mean, that's what they do, best day ever. Look out for that. Check into it if you're ever in Miami. Check out a best day ever event. All right. They also do Sundays as well. I know Norma does events, parties on Sundays. So check that out as well. And that's Sundaze. Just look it up. It should pop up. Sundays. And lastly, I was perusing through Instagram and I came across a pretty cool water bottle. So there's this company called What Lola Wants, a women's fitness shop based out of France. And they have a lot of women's fitness products. And I'm like, yo, that's a pretty dope water bottle. And it's Love Dream Create. It said Love Dream Create on it. This is on the website as well. Everything I'm talking about now is on the website. So just check out loversambition.com. You could see it. Love Dream Create thermos. It's like a glass container. And I'm hearing a lot about plastic and how it's bad for the environment. I'm looking to transition out of using plastic products myself. I'm just looking for a dope water bottle to get as well. Glass water bottle. So this is something that caught my eye. And I just put it up. I just share stuff that interests me. Like whatever it is. If it's cool, I share it. And I hope, you could appreciate it. So that's what I feel I'm here to do. Just share stuff that catches my eye. Most likely, hopefully, it might catch your eye. And, it's just about sharing information. And that's what I want to do at the end of the day. So that's everything I've been up to recently. 7 days of wisdom, mix it in with a little bit of culture this week, a little bit of music. Next week, we probably be doing the same thing, just switching up a little bit, being a little more well-rounded, diverse. You get to see another side of me. And, yeah, so 7 days of wisdom, episode 22, April, new month. Let's have a strong one. It's Aquaus, man. Take it easy. Check you out next week. Peace.